Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Action!
This is a big one, AKAPADers. Welcome back, Peter A. DeLuca here. I'm just going to pause during my intro to take a sip of my nice iced coffee. Homemade, by the way. We do a lot of coffee here at the AKAPAD studios. Peacemaker, Season 2, 2025. I totally forgot that Season 1 was 2022. That is wild. You kind of want to say, everyone flocked to Peacemaker Season 1. And I guess we're just going. Not much of an intro. I apologize. But guys, welcome back to the show of shows, the AKAPAD Film Buff Podcast. The most informative and obsessive podcast feed that you can subscribe to on any platform. We do two drops a day, sometimes even 3. As I'm talking to you, we're a couple weeks out of the release of Peacemaker Season 2. And Peacemaker Season 2 is not igniting anything on social media. Let's document that. Let's also document that its counterpart, right? Because they are competing companies. Disney, Hulu, Fox, Alien Earth. As much of a lore-breaking monstrosity that show is, as confusing to the narrative logic that we've seen in all the other Alien and Predator movies, it's lighting up the conversation. People love it. They love talking about it. I thought it was confusing, but I've been sticking with the show, and I like the show. I really do. So I watched maybe the first 15 minutes of this season. I heard for years how good Season 1 was. Everyone told me. My ex-former brother-in-law, I don't know what you call him, but he's not married to my sister anymore. Whatever adults call that. He loved Season 1. He would always tell me to watch it. I told him I would watch it. And I was willingly lying to him because I had no interest in Peacemaker. Just as a surface level character. Just no interest. I really don't care. It looks like in the beginning of this season, they retconned some of Season 1. And then he's dimension hopping. He's hopping through these dimensions. And I know in the Flash movie, there's dimensions. And for some reason, in like Superman, there's dimension portals. Like all of this crap. So right out of the gate, like James Gunn is just multiversing the hell out of this to try and explain what I do not know. Oh my god. So it's hard to get a vested interest. It's hard to pay attention to it. The downplaying of what it is to be a hero, to be a superhero, and then the overall like James Gunn comedy, which I think works in something that's bigger. But when we're doing like a shared superhero universe and you are going to get compared to the MCU, and as dire as the MCU is now, I don't view it as bad as the DCU, what they call. I mean, all of this is just confusing, right? Because now with James Gunn, this is our co-CEO, writer-director of nearly everything we've seen from what they now call the DCU. The DCU, but formerly the DCEU, DC Comics Extended Universe, a.k.a. the Snyderverse. Zack Snyder, who we profile him a lot on this podcast because we love our Zack. He's great. Go check out Rebel Moon. Yeah, if you guys want like a new adult Star Wars, go check out Rebel Moon. So it's like all of this stuff, right? And it's not just like entertainment. We can't just like sit down and blah and just watch it. We have to know what happened in Superman, Creature Commandos, It's already confusing and weird, and we're already dimension hopping. The sense and sensibility of this show, I think, it's a weird misfire. I think John Cena. I think the whole cat. I think like everything's like great within the show. I'm just not into, like a superhero being driven around in I don't know, like a Prius or whatever car he's in a Chevy Cavalier. Like I don't know. I don't know what the appeal is of putting characters in like absolutely awkward, depreciating positions, but then knowing that they will be called upon for heroism and to truly do the impossible and to outthink people, outwit individuals. Heroes always have a perfect counterpart when it comes to the villain. The villain is always a couple steps ahead of the hero. Again, like hero's journey level storytelling. I don't view that as like stuff that James Gunn's like good with. I will always point to the finale of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where he completely diminished the Star-Lord character, killed off his father, and kind of like put to bed this higher part of the Cosmic Odyssey part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it was hard for them to roll back into it when you got to the Eternals. So like it's not like he's made perfect choices, and I think there's a lot of glazing online where very similar to Ryan Coogler, where these guys made some good movies, no doubt, movies that I enjoyed, but we have to look at it as a step-by-step, case-by-case evolution scenario. What's the state of the union when it comes to DCU and James Gunn and the series just being completely weird, unfunny, confusing out of the gate? In the first couple minutes, I didn't even know what the hell I was watching, and I was watching things I just didn't care about. I didn't care about what Peacemaker was doing. But I think everything James Gunn did with that Suicide Squad movie was absolutely what you would want from James Gunn. Like James Gunn perfection. Bring us the weird characters and make them something. It seems like that's what he can lean into. I don't know if he can lean into some of these iconic characters or weaving an interconnected, like, universal story. I think everything that people thought and kind of projected onto the process and the evolution of the MCU, James Gunn, I think, drank a lot of his own medicine and took that stuff for fact. What they did with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they had hits, they had great filmmakers, and along the way they were able to weave all of these movies together. It wasn't this big mapped out plan. That's totally clear. Totally clear with some of the inconsistencies we see in Guardians of the Galaxy Thanos versus the Avengers Infinity War Thanos, and then them really not even using like killing the character off immediately in the first couple minutes of the next movie. A lot of that just so it's not like the MCU had I think they had the internal feedback loop that got that broke once they explained it. All of these things, but so we're babbling here, my AK powers. I just want to give you a couple thoughts of Peacemaker. And I give James Gunn credit for making people talk about this character. But at the same time, he's also butchered one of DC's most original characters, which is the 80s Vigilante. And he completely trashed that character. And you kind of want to say he did that too with a couple characters featured in his Suicide Squad. He's struggling to make everything he touched work within this DCU. And everyone saw these inconsistencies and this level of disconnect coming. And you were kind of like, all your fears were confirmed very early on. I think between this, what we have seen in The Flash, even though I'm aware of what happens in Flash, I have yet to see that movie. And you guys know the reasons for that. I believe there's a podcast episode perfectly set up for that comment. So scroll down that feed or go to AKAPAD.com and just type in Flash. It will come up within your search. Yeah, AKAPADers. Not excited for Peacemaker. I tried it. Maybe I'll cycle back to it. Maybe I will eat crow. Maybe I just have to go back to watch the original series. But I believe, as I do with all serialized entertainment, you can walk in at any time. I grew up on comics. Comics was my gateway into pop culture. And it's just weird how people use that term. I guess I'm one of them. So I feel like it's important for me to at least document where I'm at with so much of the comic book side of things. It's great that he made Peacemaker a marquee character. What's not great is that I don't think it's going to survive season 2, and it's going to go down as a one and done season. Spectacular, which in the large effect may have popped because of COVID. You heard it here first. All right, guys, I love you. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.